Many first-time cruisers are curious just how much a Royal Caribbean cruise will cost them, and today we're going to break down the total cost of a Royal Caribbean cruise up next. Hey everybody, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and I'm going to try to give you a basic ballpark idea of how much a cruise actually costs. To help budget and give you that idea, you should be aware of the possible areas where costs exist. No one can accurately predict exactly the cost of a Royal Caribbean cruise in total because the total vacation cost will depend on your preferences and what choices you make in the course of your trip. But to help you get a better idea of what you might actually spend on a cruise vacation, I've compiled a list of the major factors that influence the total cost of a cruise. Let's start off with the most important one, the cruise fare. The largest chunk of calculating how much a cruise costs begins with the basic cruise fare. This is the cost Royal Caribbean charges you to get a stateroom on board a ship, and that includes a lot of amenities. Your base cruise fare will depend on a variety of factors, including the ship you choose, length of your sailing, the category stateroom you pick as well. You could pay hundreds or thousands of dollars per person, but it really depends on what you choose or prefer. One of my best suggestions is always work with the travel agent who can help you price out the cruise fare options to get you started. The next cost consideration for a cruise vacation is transportation costs. After the cruise fare, it's important to figure out your means of getting to and from the cruise ship. Quite a lot of cruisers end up flying to their embarkation ports, but Royal Caribbean may offer a cruise that is close enough to your hometown that you can drive there. In conjunction with booking your cruise fare, it's always a good idea to price out transportation costs and see how much this will run you. Just like booking a cruise, transportation costs are required costs and something that can drive up the total cost of your cruise vacation substantially. Be sure to also include the cost of a rental car, shared ride service, or airport transfers in your calculations. Another built-in cost of the cruise is the daily gratuity that Royal Caribbean will charge guests. There are two types of gratuities on Royal Caribbean, an automatic gratuity and an optional one. As of the recording of this video, the automatic service gratuity is $14.50 US dollars per person per day for guests in junior suites and below, and $17.50 US dollars per person per day for guests in grand suites and above, applied to each guest's SeaPass account on a daily basis. The gratuity applies to individual guests of all ages and stateroom categories. Now, you can prepay your gratuities by contacting Royal Caribbean at least 48 hours prior to your sailing. If you booked with a travel agent, your travel agent can prepay gratuities at least 48 hours prior to sailing as well. And if gratuities are not prepaid prior to the sailing, then they'll automatically be added to your folios once on board. Now, in addition to that, there's also an 18% gratuity that's automatically added to all beverages, minibar items, and spa and salon purchases. Speaking of drinks, because we talked about the minibar there, beverages. An area of vacation that can add up quickly are beverages. Royal Caribbean includes some beverages with your cruise vacation, like water and coffee and tea and milk and some juices, but inevitably, a lot of guests opt to indulge and order beverages such as beer, cocktails, wine, or soft drinks. You have the option of purchasing beverages one at a time, and certainly, if you're not much of a drinker, going this route will be satisfactory. But if you think you might drink more than a couple of drinks per day, perhaps consider investing in an unlimited drink package. Royal Caribbean offers these beverage packages as a means to offer a simple approach to drinking on board. If you're wondering if a Royal Caribbean drink package is worth it, well, it ultimately depends on you and if you can drink enough every day of your cruise to make it worthwhile. Besides alcohol, coffee and tea is another factor in your beverage budget. Royal Caribbean does include complimentary coffee and tea, but if you prefer lattes, espresso, macchiatos, or other specialty coffee drinks, those will come with an additional cost. Just like alcoholic beverages, you can opt to purchase them individually or get a beverage package that includes them. One last note about beverages is you can cut down on the cost of your drinks by opting to drink in the ports your cruise will visit. Depending on your itinerary, this may or may not be a good alternative to paying Royal Caribbean's drink prices. Now, in terms of food, there is no shortage of complimentary food on your Royal Caribbean cruise, and you can easily go your entire cruise without paying a dime extra for food and be quite content and full. However, Royal Caribbean does offer some additional dining options that carry an additional cost to them. Specialty dining costs can come in the form of cover charges, pay one fee and get all the food included, or a la carte charges where you pay for only what you order. In general, specialty dining offers food and cooking styles not available elsewhere on the ship to guests, and it's a way to indulge a little bit. Specialty dining is an option for guests who want something more than what's offered in the complimentary dining, with an emphasis on certain foods that are otherwise unavailable. Think of specialty dining like you would when going out for dinner versus staying home and cooking something. You would certainly be content with a home-cooked meal, but going out for dinner is a nice treat that comes with a higher cost. Another big component to your cruise vacation costs are shore excursions. Inevitably, shore excursions are something everybody typically opts for on a cruise. After all, these are activities offered in various ports of calls that your ship will visit. You can do something simple like taking a taxi downtown and walking around, take a walking tour, or even take a bus ride around the city. Or you could hop in a helicopter, ride a dog sled, or visit historical sites. In short, there are a lot of options when visiting any port Royal Caribbean will take you. Now, picking the perfect shore excursion will depend on what you're looking to do, but you have a lot of choices, either booking through Royal Caribbean or going on your own and working with a third-party vendor. The cost of shore excursions can be just as varied as your cruise fare, so again, you need to account for some sort of a budget factor when it looks at the excursions you're doing. Keeping in mind, by the way, that excursions in the Caribbean tend to be a lot cheaper than excursions in the Mediterranean or over in Alaska. So we've hit on the big components of the cruise fare cost. Now we're gonna get into some that are a little more optional. We'll start with internet. Having internet access on your cruise went from something nice to have to a near necessity these days. And Royal Caribbean's onboard Wi-Fi, which is better known as VOOM, comes in two options: an unlimited plan or 24-hour access packages. Royal Caribbean boasts excellent speeds on boarded ships with its VOOM service. Unlimited internet plans are available for purchase before or during your cruise, and almost always the cost of an internet package is cheaper before the cruise thanks to those pre-cruise discounts. Now, in terms of photos, during your cruise, Royal Caribbean's photographers will snap shots of you and your family that you have the choice of purchasing later in the sailing. While far from a necessity, onboard photos do represent for many families an opportunity to take professional shots and remember a fun family vacation. Royal Caribbean offers photos priced individually as well as photo packages. Just like the drink packages, which option to take depends on how much you will take advantage of the photo opportunities. Admittedly, it's really difficult to exactly estimate how many photos you'll want to take, but keep in mind that this is part of the cost of a cruise. You can always take your own photos during your vacation, but the photo opportunities Royal Caribbean offers make for some very compelling memories. Beyond everything else we've outlined, there are still spending opportunities on your cruise that you may or may not be interested in. This is the area of vacation budgeting that will vary wildly, but here are some common spending options many cruisers consider, such as spa treatments, whether on board the ship or on shore, the casino, bingo, fitness classes, and of course souvenirs. So the total cost of this will vary depending on your preferences. If you add up all the numbers from the spending categories outlined earlier in this video, you should have a pretty good ballpark idea of what your Royal Caribbean cruise will cost. How much your Royal Caribbean cruise costs really depends on the choices you make before and during your cruise. Many of the extra costs are optional, but then again, you're on vacation, and indulging is what makes vacation so much fun. Hopefully this gives you an idea of what to expect, and ultimately, you have the power to determine how much higher the cost will be in the end. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and be sure to turn on your notifications so that way YouTube will let you know when we have a brand new video out. This is Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.